record on this computer?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm recording now. Okay, where did you guys stop hearing me? Can you hear me now?
I think you were showing the instance which was pending and it was initializing from there.
Oh, okay. Let me maybe plug in these headphones. Yeah, we'll see. Everyone can hear me now, though, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The problem is too. I had the screen off. Okay. So what we're doing now is we're connecting to the instance. So it was pending. We have all this information here, where we have this the public IP address where if we wanted to host a website, it would be here. If we needed the security group, we can look at it here. All of this description is just a description of the running instance. Okay, and so what we're going to do next is connect to this running instance. So now it is running. We can see it's not initializing anymore. It is running. So we're going to connect here. And did you hear this part before about the chmod? Make sure that the PEM file, you chmod it so that you have the proper access to use it as the key. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to secure shell into this running instance. Okay, and I'm using the Ubuntu subsystem on my Windows machine. I don't know, does everyone have either access to a terminal, either on Mac or on Linux? Or even the PuTTY shell on Windows would work as well. Okay, good, good. Yeah, now that I know that my mic is spotty, I might ask for more feedback. So I'm going to just copy and, sorry, I'm just gonna paste that here. So this is the secure shell using this key value pair, and this is the endpoint that I'm connecting to. And so if we just hit enter, it will ask us if we're sure we want to connect. We'll hit Y, and nope, you have to write yes. They're really, really firm about that. They want to make sure you want to connect. Okay, and now you can see we're connecting. There's some information when you connect just about the machine. And you can see now, instead of where I was at Tim Desktop, I'm on Ubuntu now with that IP address. And we can do different things. We can see what's running. There's nothing in the home directory. We can see this is just a Ubuntu file system. So now, because we have this running file system, let's go back here. We can do different things. So the first thing you usually do when you start a new instance like this and you spin it up, you want to update the system. So I'm going to just update Ubuntu using the sudo apt-get update. And it should be fairly quick. So this is so that all of the Linux dependencies are up to date on it for if you want to install new files, new systems, things like that. So now, next, what we're going to do is just as a demo, I'm going to install Apache, just a web server. Let's see. And that's with this command, just install Apache 2. I should just yes. Okay, and this is just for a demo so you can see what we're doing on this machine here in the terminal actually has effect on the virtual machine running in the cloud. And then I think we're just going to start, make sure Apache starts, which is just the systemctl start Apache 2. Okay, and we can actually just check it. Yep, it's running. So now if we go back here to our system, we were on this instance, and this is the public address, the public IP address. So if we copy it, go to a new window, we can see Apache 2 is running. So it actually works. So we installed Apache, and right now it's just an empty, an empty web file. But what we did on our terminal there, here, we'll actually demonstrate it by stopping Apache. And now if we refresh, See, it can't be reached. So that's just a demo for what you're doing here in this instance actually takes effect. Okay, so start it again. And so we'll go back here. And now one of the main things that we want to talk about is the file sharing capabilities on the cloud. So this service is called EC2. What we're actually going to talk about next, and we're going to be using this a little bit later, is the S3. I don't know what S3 stands. Does anybody know what S3 stands for? I assume it's storage service, secure storage service, maybe? Anyone? Anyone can do Google foo and tell me? Everyone can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So if you go up to services and you can just search S3.
Simple storage service.
Simple storage service, okay. You can see here are all the services. There's a lot. Amazon offers a lot of services and they're expanding every day. But what we're interested is in the S3, the simple storage service. And so what we're going to be doing here is just creating a bucket. A bucket, this is just a kind of storage place where you can put files. I have this demo bucket, which I'll probably use, but I'll make one here. So you need to enter a name. I think the name has to be unique. So like even if I tried to put test bucket Tim demo, oh no, it would work. Oh, demo. No, so yeah, bucket name is already owned. Okay, so yeah, these bucket names have to be unique and they have to be able to be used in a URL. So that's why it's enter a DNS compliant bucket name, test bucket, and you can name it whatever you'd like. You do want it in the region where you're going to be using it. So I know people are around the world. Make sure I'm using the US instances or the US regions. You could access everything from a different region, but it increases the network time. The network time it would take to get information to that bucket. So you generally, all of your cloud resources, you want them to be running in the same region. Later, if you have a database storage and your VMs, you want them all running in the same geographic location. Unless you did want to do kind of fallback where you wanted to protect something if a certain region went down, that's beyond the scope of this tutorial right now. But so you would hit next. Oops. Test bucket 1. Bucket name already exists. Oh, I think yeah. So it can't be anyone can have the bucket name. Test 1. Let's see if that one works. Oof. Okay. So yeah, it does have to be unique because you can use it as an endpoint in a URL. Again, you can put tags. You can put study test. Next is set permissions. So by default, it blocks public access to everyone. You can take this off if you want it to be a public access bucket. Say if you wanted to host images for a website that will need to be accessed by that website. But usually you do want to block public access and give either individual IPs or roles access to the bucket. Okay, there's just some general information and we'll create the bucket. So now you can see a bucket's here. You can actually go into this bucket. You can upload files if you want. You can create a folder and you can kind of view all the properties and permissions. So now that you have a bucket created, we can go back into the EC2 instance. Let's see, which EC2? This one. Okay, so in this instance, what we're going to do to connect to that S3 bucket is use a third-party library called s3fs. It's S3 file storage, and this is how you would mount it. And yeah, I'll post this on the GitHub, just about this service and how to install it. Okay, and I've got some of my cheat codes over here. So because we updated, all we do is sudo apt install s3fs. Okay. And now in order to make sure it installed correctly, let's see, we can check it installed with which.
Hey, Tim, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. How much did you miss? Yeah.
Like
got
just a
S3FS.
minute or two.
I think you were going to send us S3FS, the link to S3FS to download.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, on the machine, you can just, if you just put the sudo apt install s3fs, that will download it as long as it's updated. I had a problem earlier. If it tells you that it's not downloading, make sure you run the update command to update the dependencies. Because yeah, it's that I had a problem with that where your Ubuntu has to be up to date in order to find this package. Okay, so now once we do that, we need to, in order to interact with the S3 bucket, we have to put some credentials on this virtual machine system. We can add these on as environmental variables when we spin up the system, but just for ease of this demo, we're just going to have a file that stores them. And I'm going to show you how to access them. So we'll go back to AWS, and we're going to go into the IAM, which again is kind of the roles and securities. You want to go to users, and who made an account today? I know, Glenn, you made an account today. Do you have a user here?
Yeah, I'm not able to enter my account. It says I need 24 hours before it activates. I need to wait 24 hours before it activates. Yeah. When I clicked on create virtual machine, it showed me that page and asked me to register and do some more stuff.
Oh, okay. So that might be a security thing that AWS does to make sure that people just aren't making accounts.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good thing we're recording this. You can come back to it later. So if you go into the IAM and you have a username here, when you click on it, you should see your username and policies. And what we want to do is go to security credentials. Now, here's where we get our access key and secret key to be able to connect other services. I don't know if who's anyone doing this? Do you have any access keys there currently? No, if you don't, you can create an access key. Just make sure that you save it on your machine. It'll give you the option to save, because once you create it, you can't view the secret key anymore. And so this is the kind of public facing access key, and you'll also get a secret key. I think it saves it in a CSV file on your machine. And so once you have those two, what you'll want to do is on the EC2 instance, you're going to just make a file that has the key and the public key and the private key just for access. So it would be something like this. Let's see, hold on.
Yeah, I don't think it creates a user for you. You have to add a user
You have to add a user. Okay. Are you the root user? Like, did you make an account?
Yeah, I am the root user.
Okay, yeah, then you would have to add a user, and you can make a user and give them access, which we can do here. Test user, access type. Yeah, so yeah, you probably want to give them programmatic access because that's how we're going to access the S3. And then you go into permissions, and you can give them certain permissions. Oh, okay. So you might not have a group either. You might need to create the permission group. And if you do have to do that, just make sure you give them Amazon S3 full access. An error occurred. Oh, group name, test. Okay. Okay, and then you can go into tags, review, and create user. Okay, yeah. And so when you save it, here, because I'm going to just delete this. So yeah, so this gives you the access key and then the secret key. And so these two things you want in a file. And here, so what you would do is you can use this command. Let's see, ID. So, okay, hold on. Oop. Oh, why is it not pasting? Okay, well, so you would just echo, and then it would be user ID, and then secret key. For that, you would put your actual user ID and secret key, and then you put it into a file in the home directory .password / s3fs. So, and that should save the credentials, which then you can access. Let's see. Okay. So now, once you do that, you also need to chmod that. Copy. So you need to just chmod it with 600, just to give it access. And then now, because we did that, now we can make a drive on our system that we can then mount the S3 bucket to. Where's the S3 bucket? Yeah, so you can keep the S3 bucket up here, and you'll need the name of it. And I think that's it. So we'll go back here. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to make a directory called S3 drive, just at the root level. So now I just have a directory here. And now I'm just going to use a command, s3fs, and then the bucket name, which here is test bucket tim demo. So that's the bucket name. And then I'm going to go to where I want to map it to. So that's S3 drive. Let's see, I've got that right. Yep, okay. So now we can see if it works. So we can see the bucket here is completely empty. What I'm going to do now is just touch a file. Test1.txt. Okay, and we can see, oh, I'm not in the bucket, or I'm not in the drive, okay. Touch test1.txt. Okay, and now we can see if it works. Yeah, so now it's here in the bucket. So yeah, and if we wanted to upload a file here, let's just add a file. No, Actigraph is up. can add an actograph and upload. So we're just doing this, in the bucket on the GUI. We can ls to see, and it's here as well. So if we spin up another instance, which actually we got time, we can do. And so I'll spin up another instance that connects the same way, and we'll see. Because it shares the same drive. So what you do in this instance will share that same. It's just it thinks of it as just a directory in the Ubuntu system now. And we can make another one that connects to the same one, and so they can share the files. So anything they do to those files will persist in the cloud storage. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any problems? Okay. Oh, no, this one. So let's exit. So next, yeah, because we have some time, I'm going to spin up another VM, but I'm going to do it in the command line. For this, I did have to install AWS CLI in Ubuntu. I think there's versions of it for, I know Mac, Windows. I don't know if there's a PowerShell equivalent. There probably is. But I generally just like to do it on a Ubuntu instance just because it's easy. And you can tell that you have it downloaded just by, oh, here, AWS Config here. So this is what you have to do first if you're running the AWS CLI. I think to install, it's just apt-get install AWS CLI, all one word. And you have to set your access key like you did before, how you got it through the IAM and the secret key. You also have to set your default region. So this is so Amazon knows where to spin up whatever you're doing with the CLI. And also default output format. I always use either JSON or text. I think there's different formats, but it's just easier to read in JSON. And what I'm going to do is first bring up the documentation. There is a lot of documentation from AWS. So if you just go, it's again, I'll share this in the GitHub under references. But all of these are different parts of their SDK that you can use in the command line. Since we're focused on EC2, we'll look up EC2. There we go. And all of these are commands you can run with the EC2. Because we want to run an instance, we'll look up run instances. And so when you go into here, usually most of the code has their basic way to run it, and then all of the flags you can use. There's usually a demo or a tutorial code as well near the bottom, but there's a lot of different options. Well, EC2 has a lot. Let's just example. Oh, examples, here we go. Okay, so you can see what you need for the EC2 is the EC2 image ID, and then that's the code we had where we were running that very specific Ubuntu image, the type, and then you need to specify the key pair. There's a few different parameters you can put in too, but that's what I'm going to do. So we'll bring up our Ec2 console first just to see. Oops, and I don't know why it always goes to Ohio. So right now I've got 5 running instances. I'm gonna bring back up the command line, and I have code somewhere. Okay. Yep, okay, so here we go. Here's, oh, it just ran, okay. So the AWS EC2 run instances is the main command. Then I'm giving it the image ID, the count, where if you put count 2, you can have more instances running. Instance type, the key name, which I specified earlier was the Tim home. The security group, which you get the ID here, and we'll refresh this just to show, yep, so there's a new instance initializing. But we'll look at this. So the security group, you can get a lot of this information off of an already running instance if you know that you want to just copy that instance pretty much exactly. And oh, so the security group, if you go into the security group, you can get the security group ID there. Subnet ID, which I don't think you have to set, but it is just useful if you know the subnet for the region you're running in and the region. And then the output is just JSON output that tells you pretty much everything that the EC2 running instance tells you. Here, I'm actually going to name this here so I don't lose it because I've got a lot of running instances. Tim test 2. Okay, and so once that's spun up, we can do. Oh, I'm always hitting that round one. We can spin up another version of the s3fs and connect it to the same drive. And so why the doing this via the command line is nice. If you wanted to, you can run the way you run an instance. There's another flag that's called user data, where you could actually include another script that is run right when it spins up. So if you wanted to, you could run the update command. You can run it to install certain dependencies. You can even run it to install a Docker image right when it runs, right when it starts up. That's something that you're able to do in the command line here, and you can even make a script to do that as well. Okay, it's still initializing. Does anyone have any questions for me just about AWS in general? I know this was a lot of information to fit in an hour. This was also a pretty general intro just to see what is possible in the cloud and AWS. It is pretty powerful. The CLI is pretty powerful too. If once this starts up and we connect it, if there's any time left, I can just show you a script that will start up a Apache web server just with one command. Let's refresh. All right, now it's up. So now we can connect again through the secure shell. Yes. Okay, and luckily I saved those commands to install the first update, always first update. So if I don't update and try to install the s3fs, here's what happens. It tells me it's unable to locate the package. That's because right now the package repository isn't up to date. So you always want to make sure it's up to date. There we go. Okay, and then we'll install. And another thing that's nice is what you can do in EC2 is that if we wanted, we wouldn't have to actually go through spinning up one of these again. You can turn one of these instances into a template that then you can spin up more and more of that template that match that template exactly. That's again a little bit beyond this. I just kind of wanted to show you how to spin up instances and how to access that S3 storage. And let's see. So next we're going to do that command to give us the different credentials in there. So yeah, I did that echo command to save the credentials. I just did that off screen because it's being recorded. I don't know. I'll probably just put down these or inactivate those secret keys. So then I'll chmod the passwords. Then I'm going to make the S3 drive. And then I'm going to connect the bucket to the S3 drive with that s3fs. And it should have all those files that were in the S3. And we can do a touch test2.txt. We can see there's a test2 here now. I think I still have the other instance running. I do, and we can ls there, and now test 2 is there as well. Ooh, okay, so everything works. Anybody have any questions? Did anyone get it working, or is everyone just kind of holding on to this information for later? Anyone? Rowan, was this kind of what you wanted? Anyone? Can everyone hear me?
Hey Tim, yes, we can hear
Oh,
you.
okay, good. Yeah, everyone's just quiet because they're working on AWS stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess there's just a couple minutes. So what I'm going to do now is just show you one more thing. So I have these 2 scripts here, just the install and install app. Here, I'm just gonna get into them. Oh. Huh. Oh, Emacs. So this is just an install script, which is just taking some positional arguments from the command line and spinning up, doing kind of the run instance. And really all it's doing is that command I wrote, it's running it, but it actually has this other parameter, user data. And I'm actually passing it the install file, which if we look into the install app. So in the install app, you can see it's just running some basic Linux commands of installing the update. It installs that s3fs, and it also installs Apache. It enables Apache, and it starts. Oh, and there's the key, so I will have to deactivate it. And it's saving that. So what I'm going to do is just run that command, where is it? Copy. Install.sh, okay. Oh, I think I'm missing the count. Let's do 2. Okay, and now we can go back. We set 2 instances. We'll refresh this. And we can see 2 instances are starting just from that script. What we were doing in that install script, that's installing it once it spins up. The main thing we're going to look at is to see that it installs Apache, because that's just a way to see that it's installing it right as it spins up. And that's if we had a website, we could set the website to install there, or if we had a Docker image, we could even do that. It's just the simple form is Apache, just installing Apache. And we'll go here. It's probably not up yet. Yeah, so right now it can't be reached. We'll just keep checking it to see if it initializes. Oh, they're still initializing. Just so I don't use it. And so if you are testing things like this, I'm going to spin down all of these. Right now, it doesn't matter that much because it's the free tier. But if you're messing around with anything higher, like there's much higher instances. Say you wanted to run a relational database server, it can get very expensive if you're running, and because you're paying for compute time. So just remember to spin down all of your instances. And let's see, it's still initializing. Well, so how's everyone doing? Staying cool? Nice, thanks, Sugata. Still initializing. Okay, we'll give it some time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions or have anything they want to see? So yeah, I know this was a request from Rowan. who I don't think is here anymore. But yeah, so that's how you can share the S3 storage, which is just, you know, bucket storage in the cloud that can be accessed anywhere in the virtual machines. So yeah, later if you want, we can try to I could try to explain more about how to run different commands on that data, so that, say you have a processing pipeline, you could run it in a virtual machine, save it in the bucket. There's different triggers that you can set to, say when a file goes to the bucket, it can trigger something else to happen. So it can trigger either files to move to a different bucket, it can trigger you know, alerts to be sent out, things like that. Okay, it looks like it's spun up now, so let's refresh. Hopefully it's running. Oh no. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Okay, so Apache is running. Great. So that's the demo.